Hey everyone, imagine waking up to find out that a big chunk of cash is about to land in your bank account, $2,700 to be exact. That's the news shaking things up right now, straight out of Washington. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer just walked away from a press conference this morning where he put his signature on a stimulus package that's been in the works for months. After all the back and forth, the debates that seemed endless, and moments where it looked like it might fall apart, it's official. Payments are coming, and they're starting soon, April 16th, just days away. This isn't some rumor floating around. It's happening, and it could mean real relief for a lot of people who've been feeling the squeeze lately. Picture this. Schumer standing there, talking about how urgent it is to get this money out to folks. He said something along the lines of making sure no one gets left behind as the country keeps pulling itself out of tough times. And honestly, with prices still climbing and uncertainty hanging over everything, that $2,700 could be a lifeline for families trying to keep their heads above water. But here's the thing, not everyone's going to get it, and even if you do, there's a catch. You've got to make sure you're set up to actually receive it, or you could miss out entirely. That's what's got me digging into this today, because the details matter, and they're not all over the headlines yet. So, who's getting this money? It comes down to how much you make, and who's in your household. If you're single and your adjusted gross income from your last tax return, is under $75,000, you're in line for the full amount. If you're a head of household, that number bumps up to $112,500. And for married couples filing together, you can earn up to $150,000 and still get the whole $2,700. But it's not a free-for-all. If you're over those limits, the amount starts shrinking. Earn too much, like over $80,000 as a single person, $120,000 as a head of household, or $160,000 as a couple. And you're out of luck. No payment at all. They've set it up this way to focus on people who need it most, which makes sense when you think about how stretched budgets are for so many right now. Now, that $2,700 isn't the whole story for everyone. If you've got kids or other dependents, you might see more coming your way. Schumer mentioned during the press conference that the payment adjusts based on your family situation. It's not totally clear yet how much extra you get per dependent. There's talk of it depending on their age or other specifics, but it's something that could push your total higher. That's a big deal for parents or anyone taking care of someone else, because every bit helps when you're juggling bills and groceries and everything else. Here's where it gets tricky though. The money starts hitting accounts on April 16th, but there's a deadline creeping up even sooner. April 12th. That's the cutoff for sorting out your details if there's anything off with what the government has on file for you. If you filed your taxes recently and your bank info is up to date with the IRS, you're probably good to go. You'll see that deposit pop up sometime between the 16th and the 23rd, depending on how fast your bank moves. But if something's changed, like you switched banks, got married, had a kid, or didn't file taxes lately, you've got to act fast. There's a special website the Treasury's putting together where you can update all that, and they're saying it'll be live soon. If you don't get it sorted by the 12th, you might be stuck waiting for a paper check, which won't even start mailing out until the 25th, and that could take longer depending on where you live. Speaking of checks, that's the backup plan for anyone without direct deposit info on file. They'll mail those out in waves after the electronic payments kick off. It's not ideal. Waiting for the mail always feels like a gamble, but it's how they're making sure everyone gets a shot at this. And this isn't tied to those old COVID stimulus checks from a few years back. Schumer was clear. This is a fresh start, a new push to tackle today's problems, not a redo of what came before. So even if you got money then, it doesn't change your chances now. One thing that stood out from the press conference was how they're trying to keep this simple and fair. The payment's set up as a tax rebate, which means it's not going to mess with your taxes next year. You don't have to report it as income or pay it back. It also won't count against you if you're on programs like food stamps, Medicaid, or Social Security. That's a relief, because sometimes these things come with strings that end up hurting more than they help. They've thought that part through at least. But there are some special situations worth knowing about. If you had a baby or adopted since your last tax filing, you can add that to your info online to boost your payment. Same goes if your income tanked recently. Maybe you lost a job or took a pay cut. You can update that too, but again, it's got to be by April 12th. College students or young adults still claimed as dependents. They won't get their own check, but their parents might, depending on the rules about age and who's supporting who. And if you're on Social Security, disability, or a veteran who doesn't usually file taxes, you should be covered automatically through whatever records the government already has. Just double-check if you've got dependents, because you might need to tweak something there. Another big shift this time around is for mixed-status households. In the past, if someone in your family wasn't a citizen, it could block the whole payment. Now they've changed it so U.S. citizens and eligible residents get the money no matter who else is in the house. That's a game changer for a lot of families who got left out before. It's part of a broader push in this package. There's more than just the checks. They're extending unemployment help, putting money into rental assistance, giving grants to small businesses, and even funding vaccines and health stuff. It's all tied together, trying to patch up the holes in the economy while keeping things moving forward. Of course, not everyone's thrilled. Some folks are worried about how much this all costs and whether it'll make inflation worse. You can see their point. Pouring money out like this could heat things up if it's not handled right. But the people backing it say it's targeted enough to avoid that, helping regular people stay afloat without tipping the whole system over. It's a gamble either way, and we'll probably feel the effects one way or another down the road. So what's the bottom line? This $2,700 could be a real boost. Maybe it's rent covered for a month, a pile of bills wiped out, or just a chance to breathe a little easier. But you've got to pay attention. Check your status, update your info if you need to, and watch out for scams, because you know they're coming. No one legit is going to call you asking for money to unlock your payment. Stick to the official government site, and you'll be fine. This is a moment where staying on top of things could literally put cash in your pocket, and with that April 12th deadline looming, there's no time to waste.